Okay, this is lecture number 14, and we have covered the lot of portion of agriculture, and this will be probably the last class of the agriculture, right? And in this class, we will start with the regionalization of agriculture. And let me first of all briefly discuss what we did in last class. In lecture number 13, okay, we discussed about fertilizers, pattern of fertilizer utilization in India. Then we discussed the problems in seed sector and what are the possible solution to these problems. Then we discussed the pattern of agriculture, the factors influencing the pattern of agriculture, factors influencing the pattern of agriculture. Okay, and the last and the one topic that we did was the irrigation, the problems with the different irrigation systems in India and what are the feasible solutions to these problems. So these were the topics of the last class, right? And this will be the last class of the agriculture, right? The lecture number 14. In this we will do the regionalization of agriculture and most probably one more topic, that is the land classification. Okay, so these two topics most probably, but more important, we will concentrate on the regionalization of agriculture. So let us start with this topic, that is regionalization of agriculture. Okay, so our topic is the regionalization of agriculture. First of all, why we need to understand that why regionalization of agriculture, why we are doing this regionalization of agriculture. Okay, now what is meant by regionalization? To giving the special perspective. See, in India, agriculture is a diversified activity. Agriculture, we can say this first, that agriculture is a diversified activity. Why it is a diversified activity? Number of agriculture activity, number of cropping pattern exist in India. Somewhere rice is grown, somewhere the wheat is grown, somewhere maize is grown, somewhere cotton is grown. So the agriculture is very diversified in India. So because of this, we need to understand the different special perspectives of agriculture, meaning different regions have the different special capabilities and different growth potential for different crops. So that is what we will understand in the regionalization. So it is the spatial perspective. It is the spatial perspective to understand the agriculture success, to understand the agricultural success. Right, and this regionalization can be done on number of factors. So the first dominant factor that we will do is on the basis of the major crop, that is first ranking crop, on the basis of first ranking crop. So this can be the first criteria of regionalization. That means some region are wheat growing regions, some region are rice growing regions, some regions are the cotton growing region, right? For example, the cotton the Gujarat Maharashtra region is the cotton, primary crop is cotton crop. In the green belt region, in the Punjab Haryana, main crop is the wheat. Similarly, in the eastern UP and the Bihar, the main crop is the rice. Okay, similarly, let us say tea, it is in the Kerala and the Kerala borders, the Karnataka as well as the Assam. So this is the major crop there. So on the basis of the first ranking crop, we can divide the different regions of India, right? So this was on the basis of the first ranking crop, but this is not a suitable method. It has a number of subjectivities, right? So we will do a scheme of Kapok. So Kapok was a person, okay, who gave his scheme for India. So India can be divided as per the Kapok scheme. Now as per the Kapok scheme, sorry, this is K. As per the Kapok scheme, India can be divided into 11 regions. India can be divided into 11 regions. Okay, 11 agricultural regions. Now these agriculture regions that we will do here, right? So the first agriculture region that we can divide is the rice growing regions where the rice is the primary crop basically. Okay, rice growing regions. As we know, the rice is the major staple crop in India. Okay, so the rice growing region where rice is the primary crop, right? The first region are the monoculture regions, monoculture of rice, where the monoculture of rice is prevalent. These regions are Chhattisgarh, okay, Chota Nagpur Plateau, mhm, West Bengal, okay, Delta regions of India, right? Kaveri River Belt, Kaveri region. So these are the monoculture regions, right, where the rice is grown. The second region is the West Coast Plains. The West Coast Plains, where the rice is grown, right? West Coast Plains, which include the Malabar and Konkan coastal regions, right? So here the rice is again the primary crop, but along with the rice, the other crops, the subsidiary other crops are like rubber, coconut, ragi, and vegetable. Okay, these are the associated crops. So these are the second region where the rice is the major crop, the first ranking crop. Okay, the third is the East Coast Plains. The East Coast Plains, right? These regions include the Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, okay, on the east coast. Okay, along with the rice, other crops are the groundnut, okay, jawar, maize, and bajra. These are the associated crops. Okay, this is the third region where the rice is the main crop. Coming to the fourth, it is the Middle Ganga Valley. It is the Middle Ganga Valley. More particularly in the eastern Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. So this include eastern UP and Bihar. Here again rice is the primary crop, but along with the rice associated crops are wheat, pulses, sugarcane, okay, barley, and maize. These are the associated crop along with the rice. So rice is the primary. Rice is primary in all these crops that we are discussing. अभी हम rice जो primary crop है वो reason discuss कर रहे हैं, right? Coming to the fifth one, sorry, the fifth one, that is the South Karnataka region. South Karnataka Plateau. Okay, again where rice is the primary crop, but along with the rice in this plateau region, along with the rice is the primary, right? Along with the rice, other are wheat, pulses, ragi. So these are the associated crops which are grown, but rice is again the primary. The sixth region where rice is primary crop is the your hilly regions of the north part of the West Bengal. Hilly regions of northern West Bengal. Northern West Bengal. Right. Now, these regions, rice is the primary crop, but along with the rice, other associated crops are coffee, right? Pulses, cardamom, okay. So these are associated crops. And the main region in this that we are when we are talking north, it is Jalpaiguri district. Jalpaiguri district, right? So this is the sixth region where the rice is the primary crop, right? Along with some additional crops that we discussed. Coming to the seventh region where rice is the primary crop, it is the Meghalaya plateau. It is Meghalaya plateau, right? Meghalaya plateau. Now again on Meghalaya plateau, when we say that the rice is primary crop, that we are rice region we are discussing, but along with the rice, the associated crops are like potato, maize, okay, cotton. So these are associated crops, right? So we discussed the seven regions where rice is the the first ranking crop. So let us once more revise this. The monoculture of rice region. Okay, these regions: Chhattisgarh, Chota Nagpur, West Bengal, etc. Then West Coast Plains, East Coast Plains, Middle Ganga Valley, South Karnataka, hilly regions of Northwest Bengal, and the Meghalaya Plateau, where rice is the first ranking crop. So we have done the areas where rice is the first ranking crop. Now let us move on to the next part, that is B, where the wheat is the okay, wheat is. So let us write it 2. Actually, we will discuss the 11 combinations. Okay, so this is the second combination. The first that we did was the rice, where the rice is the primary crop, the first ranking crop. Now wheat is the first ranking crop, first ranking crop. The regions where wheat is the first ranking crop, right? So the first region is here the Ganga Yamuna Doab, Ganga Yamuna Doab. Okay, the first region is this. Rice is the first, wheat is the first ranking crop. Along with wheat, other crops like rice, pulses, okay, maize, etc. These are also grown. Then moving on to the second, it is Eastern Haryana. Eastern Haryana, right? Again, wheat is the first ranking crop, but along with wheat, the pulses, bajra, maize, these are also grown. Coming on to the third one, where the wheat is first ranking crop, is the Himachal Pradesh. Sorry, Himachal Pradesh and neighboring areas of Punjab and okay. So this is the third region where the wheat is the primary crop. The fourth one is the rest of Punjab. Rest of Punjab. Okay, so these are the areas where wheat is the primary ranking or the first ranking crop, but along with wheat, the other crops like maize, jawar, okay, bajra, pulses, they are also grown. Okay, so this is the second part that we did, that is the wheat, where the regions where wheat is the primary crop, the first ranking crop. Okay, so if we said that we will discuss the 11 such combinations, 11 such regions. So we have discussed two. One is the for rice, second one is for the wheat. Moving on to the third one, the third region, that is the where the jawar is the primary crop. Jawar is first ranking crop, where jawar is first ranking crop. Okay, these are the areas where we will discuss. So the first region is the Tamil Nadu highlands. Tamil Nadu highlands, and the districts which include are the Salem and Coimbatore districts. Okay, this is the first. Second is the North Karnataka Plateau. South Karnataka we did in the rice region. Here we are writing the North Karnataka Plateau. North Karnataka Plateau and the Western Maharashtra. Plateau and Western Maharashtra. Right, Western Maharashtra. This is the second one. Third one is the where the jawar is the major crop. It is the North Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh. North Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh. Right. Number 4, where the jawar is the first ranking crop in Telangana and Chandrapur district of the Andhra Pradesh. Telangana and Chandrapur. Okay, so these are the regions that we said are the primary where the primary crop, the first ranking crop is the jawar, right? But along with the jawar, the other crops are also grown. It is not that only jawar is grown, right? Other crops like ragi, okay, oil seeds, pulses, okay, these are also grown in association with the jawar. So this is the third region, okay, that is the where jawar is the primary or the first ranking crop. Moving on to the fourth part, that is the maize. Okay, now let us moving on to the which one is that fourth? Yes, maize. Maize. Where maize is the first ranking crop. Maize is first ranking crop. Okay, let us write those regions first of all. Number one is the southeast Rajasthan, okay, and contiguous areas of Madhya Pradesh and Gujarat. Contiguous areas of MP and Gujarat. Right. Number two is where the maize is the first ranking crop. Himachal Pradesh and hills of the Kashmir. Himachal Pradesh and hills of Kashmir. Okay, and so these are the two main reasons where the maize is the first ranking crop. But you must understand that maize is not the only crop that is grown. Along with maize, other crops like rice, groundnut, okay, gram, pulses, and in Rajasthan more particularly the fodder. Okay, so these are the additional crops which are grown with the first ranking crop, that is maize, in these regions. Okay, now we have done the four combinations or the four regions where, okay, rice, wheat, jawar, bajra, sorry, jawar and maize. Moving on to the fifth one, that is the bajra, where bajra is first ranking crop. The regions where bajra is first ranking crop. Okay, now these are the regions, basically parts of Rajasthan. These are parts of Rajasthan, okay, some regions of Gujarat, right, and Uttar Pradesh, some parts of UP and Haryana. Okay, where bajra is the first ranking crop. Along with bajra, other crops are also grown, which include the pulses, wheat, cotton, right? These crops are also grown. So this is the fifth region. Moving on to the sixth one, that is the ragi. So sixth one is the ragi. Okay, where ragi is the primary crop. Ragi is first ranking crop. Okay, where ragi is first ranking crop. So these areas, number one is the Karnataka. Okay, number one is Karnataka. Okay, and the Dhamrapur district of the Tamil Nadu. Dharmapuram district of Tamil Nadu. Okay, so these are the regions where the ragi is the first ranking crop. But along with ragi, other crops like pulses, jawar, maize, groundnut, they are also grown. So you have to remember those combinations also. But the regions where the ragi is the primary crop, right? Moving on to the next combination, next region, that is the barley, where the barley is the first ranking crop. Okay, these are the number one is the Lahul Spiti district, Lahul and the Spiti district, Lahul Spiti district of Himachal Pradesh, right? So these are the region, these are the main district where the barley is the first ranking crop. Okay, but along with these barley, the other crops are also grown in combination. Okay, so This is the seventh region. Moving on to the eighth region, that is the cotton. Okay, eighth one is the cotton. And the regions where cotton is first ranking crop, cotton is first ranking crop. Which are these regions? Maharashtra, Gujarat, and parts of Madhya Pradesh. These are Rashtra, right? Gujarat and parts of MP. These are the regions where the cotton is the primary crop. But along with cotton, you may remember the other crops also, like jawar, bajra, okay, maize, fodder. These are the additional crops, the along with the first ranking crops. Okay, so this is the eighth region that we discussed. Okay, moving on to the ninth region, the that is where the groundnut is the first ranking crop. Where groundnut is first ranking crop, right? Groundnut is first ranking crop. These areas include the areas of the particularly the Chittoor and the Kadapa district of the Chittoor and Kadapa district of Andhra Pradesh, right? And Kathiawad of Gujarat. Okay, we are discussing the groundnut as the first rank plus Kathiawad of Gujarat. Kathiawad of Gujarat, right? So these are the regions where the groundnut is the first ranking crop. Okay, moving on to the 10th region, that is the tea, where the tea is the primary crop, the first ranking crop, and these include the two regions. One is the Assam hills and another is the Nilgiri of south. Nilgiri of south, right? So these are the two regions where the tea is the first ranking crop. And the 11th and the last region, as per the Kapok scheme, is the pulses, where the pulses are the primary. The pulses, where pulses are the first ranking crop. First ranking crop. Again, these regions are also scattered across the India, right? So you cannot name a particular region, but some region broadly can be identified, like south of the Ganga Valley, South Ganga Valley, okay, eastern Rajasthan, right? But along with these regions, there are other regions also scattered across the India, as I said, where where the pulses are the first ranking crop. Okay, for example, in Odisha, in parts of Telangana, okay, in Andhra Pradesh, number of district of Andhra Pradesh, where pulses are the first ranking crop, right? Along with other associated crops. So this is the Kapok scheme where he identified 11 regions and he discussed those 11 regions in terms of the first ranking crop, like rice, where the rice is first ranking crop, where the maize is first ranking crop, wheat first ranking crop, barley, cotton, maize, okay, tea, pulses. So these 11 regions were discussed by the Kapok, right? So this was the first scheme of regionalization that we did. Okay, so we discussed the first scheme of regionalization. Okay, that is the Kapok scheme of regionalization. This one, right? First scheme of regionalization of India. Okay, so India was divided in the 11 regions. Now moving on to the next scheme of regionalization, and the next scheme of regionalization of India that we will do is based on the agroclimatic regions. Okay, it is based on the agroclimatic regions. Now, let us first of all discuss a little bit about the agroclimatic regions. See, in the first segment that we did, the first segment was about the 11 different regions. Okay, we divided the India on the basis of the first ranking group, but that was more of a descriptive concept. Okay, it was not taking into account the other factors of a region, the capability of a region. For example, the above scheme was not taking into account the temperature. Above scheme was not taking into account the potential evapotranspiration. Okay, evapotranspiration that is happening. The above scheme was not taking into account the soil conditions of the region. Above scheme was not taking about the physiography condition of the area, that is what is the slope of the land. Okay, how much sunlight is present in the land. Okay, so all these factors were not being taken into account by the previous scheme. So the previous scheme of regionalization, dividing the India into different regions on the basis of the first ranking crop, is really said to be an incomplete scheme. So if we are saying that is an incomplete scheme, so if we take these factors into account, the temperature, potential for transpiration, physiographic condition, etc., okay, then we can divide India into number of regions. Okay, number of schemes can be evolved. Okay, and that's these schemes would be more objective and more micro schemes. So the one micro scheme was given on the basis of these factors, that is said to be the agroclimatic region, was given by Randhawa. So one scheme was given by such scheme was given by Randhawa, right? And he divided India into the 15 agroclimatic region, 15 ACRs. Okay, and we will discuss these 15 ACRs. Which were these 15 ACRs? Which, on the basis of these local area prospects, what are local area prospect? What is the temperature condition? What is the soil profile? What is the nutrient profile of the soil? What is the slope of the soil? What are the land condition? On these basis, Randhawa divided India into 15 agroclimatic regions, and let us discuss these 15 agroclimatic regions. Okay, so 15 agroclimatic regions of the Randhawa that we will discuss here. So the first one is the Eastern Himalayas. Okay, second one is the Western Himalayas. Second region which he divided, Western Himalayas. Okay, third region is the Lower Ganga Valley, Lower Ganga Plains or Valley. Right. The fourth one is the Middle Ganga Plains, Middle Ganga Plains. The fifth one is the Upper Ganga Plains, Upper Ganga Plains. Right. The sixth one is the Trans Ganga Plains. Right. Seventh one is the Western Dry Region. Western Dry Region, which include the Rajasthan, Western Rajasthan particularly, plus Kutch. Right. The eighth region was the Gujarat Plains. Okay. And Gujarat Plains are basically Mahi and Sabarmati Plains. Sabarmati Plains. Right. The ninth one is the Eastern Plateau and Hills. Eastern Plateau and Hills. Right. It include the Chota Nagpur region. Chota Nagpur Plateau region. Okay. Eastern Plateau and Hills. So we have discussed the nine regions. Moving on to the 10th one, that is the Northern Plateau and Hills. Northern Plateau and Hills. Okay, these include the areas around Bundelkhand Plateau, areas around Bundelkhand. 11th one is the Central Plateau and Hills. Central Plateau and Hills, right? These include the Vindhyas, Satpuras, okay, Amarkantak, okay. These are the Central Plateau and Hills. Southern Plateau and Hills, Southern Plateau and Hills. These include the Telangana and Nilgiri, Telangana Plains, Nilgiri, okay. This one. These are the 12th. Moving on to the 13th, that is Eastern Coastal Plains, Eastern Coastal Plains and Hills, right? So these are the 13th. Moving on to the 14th, and the last one is a 15th. So 14th is the Western Coastal Plain and Hills, Western Coastal Plains and Hills, right? And 15th is the Island Regions of India, Island Regions of India. Okay, so these are the 15 regions which were classified by the Randhawa on the basis of local area prospect, right? So which were the local area prospect that we can choose? These are the local area prospect, okay. And on this basis, the 15 regions that were identified or something like that: Eastern Himalayas, Western Himalayas, Lower Ganga Plain, Middle Ganga Plain, Upper Ganga Plain, Trans Ganga Plains, right? Indus Plains, that as it they are called. Western the dry regions: Rajasthan, Kutch, Gujarat Plains, Eastern Plateau and Hills, Chota Nagpur one, Northern Plateau and Hills, Central Plateau and Hills, Southern Plateau and Hills, Eastern Coast, Western Coast, and the Island region. So these are the 15 regions which were identified by the Randhawa. So this is the second scheme of regionalization that we did. First one was the Kapok regions. Okay, these were based on the first ranking crop, right? The second one that we did is the based on the local area prospects. Okay, and it is also called as the agroclimatic regions of the India. Okay, so this was the second scheme, and we did the Randhawa scheme. And this scheme was one more point, that this scheme was adopted by the Planning Commission. Okay, this scheme was adopted by Planning Commission. So these are the 15 regions of the Randhawa. Now we have done the two types of regionalization, right? The third scheme of regionalization. So we have done the two schemes of regionalization. Okay, the first one was based on the Kapok, right? The second one was based on the Randhawa. Okay, and the third scheme of regionalization that we will do is the land capability classification. Land capability classification. Okay, this can also be displayed under this same head, that is the regionalization. Now here regionalization that we will be doing on the basis of the capability of land, that how capable a land is. Okay, which kind of resources the land can be diverted to, whether the land is stable for agriculture, and if it is stable for agriculture, which kind of agriculture, whether it is stable for fodder, whether it is stable for grass cultivation, whether it is stable for the forest, or it is stable not stable for the cropping but can be diverted to the city formation or the concretization of the land. Okay, infrastructure projects. So this is the third scheme, that is the land classification scheme. So on the basis of the land classification scheme, right, the land classification scheme, the land can be divided into the eight classes. So it can be divided into eight classes. So the class 1 land are the most stable land. They are the best type of land. They are the best type of lands. Okay, now these lands can be used for the cultivation of crop without any usage of the fertilizers or any other associated method. So they are the best land and must be used for the agriculture. Then the class 2 land. Okay, the category number 2. Okay, that is the class 2. The class 2 land are can also be used for cultivation, but they are not as good as the class 1. So if they are the call it the best type, if they are best type, then they are just good ones, good types. Okay, that doesn't mean that these type of land cannot be used for cultivation. Yes, they can be, but you have to apply some inputs, you have to apply some inputs in the form of irrigation, in the form of fertilizers, okay, pesticides. So these inputs have to be applied. Okay, then comes the category number 4, that is class 4 type, class 4, sorry, class 3. The class 3 land can also be used for cultivation. Okay, but along with that, what you have to do, you have to apply the fertilizers, you have to apply the fertilizers intensively. You have to apply the fertilizers, you have to apply the old modern irrigation technique, and you have to care for the land, you have to take care of the land, care of land, to prevent this land from the erosion, to prevent it from erosion, right? Wait, yeah, to prevent it from erosion. So this is the class 3 land. Okay, now come the class 4 land. Okay, so class 4 land, this type of lands can also be used for cultivation, right? They are also fairly suitable for cultivation of the crops. They require intensive control of erosion, right? What I'm saying is that these lands can also be used for cultivation, can be used for cultivation, but you have to be very careful while you cultivate the crops. You have to apply the fertilizers, irrigation, pesticides, and you have to take care of the land aggressively. You have to manage the land, to oversee its, to prevent the land from erosion, to prevent the land from other limitations which can arise on the land, right? So this is the class 4 of land. So the first four categories, these first four, class 1, class 2, class 3, and class 4 of land, they are fairly stable, they are fairly, fairly suitable for agriculture, right? Fairly stable for agriculture. The second broad category is starts from the class 5th, class 5 to 8. So the class 5 land are not that stable for agriculture. So even though you may cultivate some crops, but they are more stable for the fodder, they are more stable for fodders, right? For, so that this can be used for grazing purposes of the animals, right? Along with this, you have to prevent the land from, again, those limitations which I am mentioning repeatedly. Okay, then class 6 category of land, class 6 category of land, these lands can be used for grazing, okay, for grass cultivation, for forestry, but these lands are again not suitable for the cropping, wheat, rice. You do cannot cultivate on these lands. Then come the class 7. Okay, these kind of land are again fairly suitable for the forestry purpose, for grazing purposes. Okay, for grazing, forestry. Okay, you have to remember one thing in mind, that as we go down, the quality of land is decreasing. Okay, when I come to class number 8, class 8 category of land, they are not stable at all for the cultivation. Even the fodder is not, no, cannot be grown in these lands. So these are just stable for the wildlife, okay, and recreational purposes. Okay, so these are the last four categories which are not at all stable for the cropping, right? So we did the 8 classifications, how we can classify the land into 8 categories. Okay, first 4 categories and then the last 4 categories. But what is the significance of this division of the land? It has a very important significance of land capability classification, of land capability classification. Okay, why this kept this classification of land in 8 categories is important, why we should do it. Number one is that by doing so you can identify land you can identify, okay, you can identify which land to cultivate and which not, which land to cultivate and which not, okay, किस लैंड को खाली छोड़ना चाहिए और किस लैंड पे कल्टीवेशन करना चाहिए, ये बहुत आसानी से पता चल जाएगा ऐसा करने से, अगर आपके पास कैटालॉग है। नंबर 2, पॉइंट नंबर 2, you can manage the inputs, you can easily manage the inputs, easily manage the inputs, okay. Now if suppose that for example you are cultivating on the class 3 land and another crop you are cultivating on the class 1 land, so on the class 3 land obviously you have to apply more input, so you have the division of the land in different classes, so it is very easy to identify how much input to apply to which land, okay. The number 3 is you can prevent the soil and land from various hazards and from various hazards, okay, like wind erosion, okay, water erosion. So if you have the classification of land with you, then you can prevent the erosion of the soil, you can prevent the soil and the land from various hazards, okay. Number 4 significance is if you have the classification of land with you, then it is very easy to consolidate land, very easy to consolidate land, right. So this is the fourth significance. So these are the 4 significance that we can identify with the land capability classification. So we did this thing, sorry, okay, this thing. So these are the 4 different significance and the classification on the basis of the quality of land that we did. The first classification, the second one on the basis of the agroclimatic region, and the first classification was based on the first ranking crop. So these are the 3 classifications that we did and the 3 major scheme of regionalization that we can say. So we did the 3 major types of regionalization, 3 major types of regionalization in agriculture, right. Now this was the most probably this was the last class of agriculture, right. So this was the, we can say, the last class of agriculture, right. We discussed agriculture in very detail, let me tell you, we discussed agriculture in very detail. Agriculture has been discussed in very detail in 4 classes, right. Any topic which is left in agriculture I will discuss in last, right, when we will be concluding the entire syllabus of the geography. So this is the last of the agriculture class, and in agriculture this was last class, and in the next class we will most probably start with the industries, right, industries. So we will start with the next topic, again an interesting topic, that is industries of India, right. So industries plus some topics of the minerals will also be discussed, right. So we will meet in the next class. Next will be the lecture number 14, and one last thing before closing, you please subscribe the channel, please subscribe it, right. So we will meet in the next class, that is lecture number 14. So thank you.